of snow here in Michigan later on today. But the sun that we see today, the sunshine and the joy, are our friends and our guests that are with us. And the show that we're talking about, Pancakes with San and Dan. And I have two of my very good friends, Rabbi Sandford Kopnick, who is the rabbi at Valley Temple for Living Judaism in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Dan Nichols, who is Dan Nichols, musician, poet, artist, profound storyteller, both very good friends of mine. I'd quite possibly say that they are two of the individuals who have made me laugh the most in my life, two of probably top five, and who I've laughed the most with. Maybe top 8 if I add a few more, but let's go with 5. We'll start with anyway. And what unites the three of us, of course, is a very special place, a common love and bond that we have for Goldman Union Camp Institute, a very holy and special community in our lives. And all three of us are blessed to continue that relationship and our engagement with the camp and the work we get to do there. But for me, it started in 1985 when Sandford was the Gezi unit head, the middle school unit head, and a mentor of mine as a new counselor, and Dan was an Avdanic. And but the two of them go back to, I believe, cabin 9 sometime in like the 1950s or something. Maybe it was 70s. I don't know, late 79, 80, Kevin 10, Kevin 10. And I've loved watching your relationship in Pancakes with San and Dan and what you've done for 34 episodes, as far as I can count. And right, because that's only on Instagram, on the Instagram movies, so, or whatever they call it. But let's talk about the two of you and what's happened with this. So how did this idea come to fruition? Pancakes with San and Dan.
Well, I wanted to laugh during the pandemic, and Dan gets me going sometimes, and so we started to laugh. And by the way, I think it's a few more because we've tried Facebook Live a few times and we were deleted by Instagram once or twice. We deleted 1 or 2, so it's almost 40 now, or 41. We're coming up on a year soon. We missed it.
Yeah. So it was your idea, Sandford?
I think it was, wasn't it?
That's my memory. So you called and said, "Listen, I miss when we get together in person. We, you are famous, Dan, for saying, how about some pancakes?" And we go have pancakes and we catch up on our life. And inevitably, because we are dear friends, we end up, and we have similar humors. We tickle each other and we're just laughing and feeling great. And my memory was you called and said, "I just want to have that feeling again. It's just so stressful right now. And there's so much that we can't do, so much we can't have. Let's claim something. Let's make something the way we want it and create a little world of humor and joy and maybe even like a sense of order out of the chaos." That's what I remember.
That seems so philosophical.
Well, you know what happens is when you fall asleep listening to your previous episode, as I did last night.
Oh no.
I did. I fell asleep with the phone right here, reviewing yesterday's episode. I fell asleep last night, and I woke up multiple times in the night, and all the episodes are playing on stream, and I slept with pancakes.
Can I just tell you, I don't think I've ever once watched one again, other than if somebody asked me about something, I think I went back, especially one of my kids. In fact,
I was too asleep to actually turn the phone off, so I kept waking in and out of my sleep with us laughing, and I woke up with us laughing. And if there's anything, it is kind of philosophical. To me, the power of this silliness is we just chose joy, and we chose the ritual, the rhythm of being together every Sunday for no other purpose than just being together. And that's the learning for me.
The astounding part is that like over 200 people watch every week. Not at the same time, but for a while it was like well over 300 consistently. But people got wise and they stopped.
Well, it exists. It stays up there and you can watch it whenever, which is the blessing of it, right? And look, I'll tell you, as I joked yesterday, that I get this alert, Dan Nichols is live. is going live right now. It tells me that, and I'll be driving in the car, and inevitably Sunday at 1 o'clock, I'm on the way to a funeral or an unveiling or something like that too. And so I listen to it as I'm driving, and it makes me laugh. And I smile with you, and I find joy in that moment. And it's goofy and it's fun, and it's you. It's both of you authentic. And I love that. I appreciate that. And so, I'm not setting my clock by it, but the reminders, Allie Love from Peloton comes on and tell me it's time to work out with her live videos, but those I seem to ignore more often. So I think
we could actually call you and tell you it's time to work out also.
I expect that from
I'll
you,
be on my
Sandford.
Bob Evans at the time, just so you know.
Down on the farm, we do it right, or we don't do it.
You don't put here.
That's right. Reb Nachman of Wroclaw taught that joy is not merely incidental to your spiritual quest in life. Joy is vital and essential. And I love that teaching, and I think that's what you've reminded us of and brought to light.
And for me,
certainly not our intention, but I'm glad that it worked.
Well, I have to say, for me, there are plenty of Sunday mornings or Sunday at 1, whatever time we decide to do it. We seem to move that time around a lot. But there are plenty of Sundays where I'm not happy, Dan. I'm having a time for any number of reasons. And it feels so good to just decide I'm going to do this. And the concept of doing little things with big love is the thing that always gets me ready and focused to have fun, to commit to. We commit to all kinds of things in our lives, and this has been a real wonderful teaching that I can be selfish in this kind of way, to commit to laughter, commit to joy, commit to play, because we play. It's very playful, and
there is a lot of lying. We lie a lot on this. Only in that we talk about the staff that we have, the pre-production meetings that we do, the fact that Dan listened to one afterwards. That's actually content control that never happens.
One of my favorite experiences of this whole arc is that I was going through some stuff last year. It was pretty profound and challenging. And Sandford, in one of our episodes, said the following week, "So Dan, how was your week?" I was pie-eyed,
Really, he's like, I got this face and my thought was, oh no, because I was thinking about something in particular that I knew he had done that week that had nothing to do with the negativity that also accompanied that week, and I can compartmentalize the best of them, but and Dan shows up in the morning and you don't see it on his face that he had this remarkably horrible week, and. Oh, did I get it? After we had a post-production meeting after that one.
We did. And
what I loved, he should have. Oh, I was in the doghouse, and I there wasn't enough. I think I had to send him something as an apology. He wasn't mad at me as much as he was like, "What is the matter with you? It's not like you weren't warned."
Well, what I love about that story too is that it's ongoing. I thought the walk away from that conversation was, just don't ask me about my week. Just don't.
Every week.
But every week he asks me about my week.
That's right.
So in terms of lying, there have been times when I've made up stories totally on the spot that are completely false about what my week has been like, and it's been fun. It's been fun improv. And again, another thing that I'm learning from Sandford that is a basic, Sandford's my counselor first. I was his camper, and you learn from your counselors. And one of the things that I'm learning in this is a chat show, Dan. And what we do here is we chat, we just talk, and there is an art to just having a conversation about anything. It doesn't have to be deep. There are a lot of things that happened this week. Even, Ava falling off her skateboard and going to the urgent care. That's part of my story, but I don't need to bring that up. I could talk about.
And you notice that I didn't, and I knew about that, and I did not say a word about it.
Yeah. But I could talk about the beautiful lines that I vacuumed in the carpet yesterday that brought me such satisfaction and pleasure. I could talk about that. That'd be
And
perfect.
I'm the master of not going deep, so it worked out really fun.
And yes, and the master of weaving a good story about lines in a carpet too. The reality is you're both role models too. I mean, you both, there's many people. Yeah, Sandford, there's no doubt. I mean, for me, you're, as Dan said, that you're a mentor, as a teacher, as a rabbi, as a counselor. I mean, you're the unit head who held me accountable and reminded me of responsibility. You were the program director when I was learning to be a unit head. You were the rabbi who, I said to someone yesterday, I mean, I don't know if I'd be at Cheer Shalom today if it weren't for you, because you knew Daniel Schwartz and had a relationship with him and said, I think you could work with him. And I think you would enjoy working with him. And you guys will play well together. And,
Well,
I was
you may
interviewing.
remember, but I was leaving a position and you were interviewing for that one too.
Yes.
And,
Wow.
and I had an allegiance to the position I was leaving, but I knew that your better fit was going to be at Shir Shalom, only because, and I remember we talked about it, because Shir Shalom is a great congregation and it always was. And I said to you, coming to the place that I was leaving, you will get all these skills that you may not have gotten in rabbinic school. And it'll be like, you take it because it's good for you, not because you're going to like the way it tastes. Or you can go play for 5 years until you move on to a senior job. And that's what you got to do. You went to play for 5 years and now it's been 30.
Yeah. Well, not 30 yet, but it's a long time and it's a good time. And look, you've both been a part of that too. But so in that mind, I look to you as a role model, seeing you playful, seeing you and Dan laughing. God knows Dan has such a following around this country, around the world. And I think that's really powerful to people to see you in that authentic way, just cutting loose.
Well,
And
I was a little worried about it because, one of the problems that we had was trying to figure out what was the best way to do it. Because, if you did Zoom, then everybody had to log into Zoom. And of course, we didn't understand Zoom enough at the time to know that you could Zoom and then put it onto Facebook simultaneously. And we went on Instagram because that was the way we knew how the two of us could be the two of us, and people would see both of us. And Dan had a huge following on Instagram, which I was worried about because, if Dan had to be more the performer than he could be as genuine, but he is genuine when he performs, right? So it's not really any difference other than it's a little more silly, I think, than when he's on stage. And the other question was, how silly can I be without embarrassing my congregation? And then I remember every Friday night I embarrass my congregation. So it's really not, and especially in these days, where we're coming to them from the sanctuary and all that's there to talk to is cameras and TVs and electricity and not people. And we're a small place, so I'm making a technical error, usually 3 or 4 times a night, and so then I thought, what, we just won't swear, and as long as we don't swear, we're probably good to go.
I've dropped a few nasty nuggets here and there. I need to
Yeah,
dial that back.
You can't get fired.
I'd like to, yeah.
Well, I'll say, and I mentioned this to Dan too, on January 10th, you guys got really serious and there wasn't very much laughter occasionally on that episode after, what happened in Washington, D.C. and, the challenge we saw in our country. And I don't think we're planning it that way. And it just happened really naturally. And I said to Dan, it was like Stephen Colbert that night on January 6th also wasn't laughing, was very serious. And he spent the entire, time of his show talking about the seriousness of the challenges in America right now and what we're seeing and how scary this is. And you guys just sort of opened up with that too. And I thought, you know what, it's two friends talking, and people, again, who learn from you appreciate that. And rather than having to be in a lecture, just to hear people sort of digesting and figuring things out as well, I think was really a good teach.
Thank you.
Just like we planned.
Yeah, maybe next time I text or call Sandford in advance of the show and say, "Hey, I've got some things on my mind that are
I
not
can't,
pancake adjacent."
Well, and as I'm signing in, he's usually alone when the show starts, and I have to sign in. So he's like, there is a warning shot coming over the bow that says, "Oh, it's gonna get spicy," or whatever he said, and I'm thinking, what does that even mean? Because I'll be honest with you, things affect me differently, and I attribute this to the fact that I am a Zionist. So I watch what happens in Israel, and then when it happens in the United States, I'm not as surprised as others. I was actually surprised about the Capitol thing, but even like 9/11, it took me a long time to understand why everybody was running around with their heads cut off, given what goes on in Israel all the time. And proportionately, it was a similar event. It was not something I had experienced anew, because I think of Israel the way I think of the United States a lot of the times. So when this happened, it affected me, to be sure, but I'm also not surprised. And Dan, I love Dan because he feels everything so much deeper than a lot of people do, and especially than me. And it's always a wake-up call to me when Dan is having this experience, because it makes me remember that there is a profound moment in going much deeper than the news, and to allow yourself to feel it. And while we commit to laughing for half an hour every week, every once in a while, we had the loss of a mutual friend in June or May, whenever that was. The show was very early on, and we looked at each other and said, "There's no way to do this." So we just didn't do it that week, because there was just no joy in Mudville that week. And we got a profound response from that show that Dan started that way. I didn't remember that it was January. I had no idea. I don't remember when it was. I just remember we did it. And I was really worried about it, because I generally don't show my politics. People figure it out, but I don't generally say my politics, because I want our synagogue to be a place where everybody can come, even the people whose politics are wrong.
well said.
Please.
Yeah. As we wrap up, sorry, I have a new guest who's joined us today.
What's your guest's name?
This is Addie. We visited 20 Jark homes on Thursday in Detroit, all remote, of course. My friend and colleague Rabbi Joey Krakoff invited us to do that, and Addie was interviewed by the Jark residents, and now she hears me. What's that?
He had Shared Tzedek?
Joey was, but now he's the senior director of hospice, Jewish Hospice Detroit.
Oh, nice.
And so works with so Addie was here, and now she sees us on Zoom and thinks, well, it's her time to get interviewed again. But so I'm just going to hold her so she doesn't bark. Give me some. This is definitely a silver lining of this past year. As we conclude our time this morning together, though, share something that you're really looking forward to getting back to, that you've missed in this past year for each of you. So start with you, Sandford.
I'm looking forward, to be honest with you, I'm looking forward to Dan not being available on Sundays at 1, because he's working in congregations spreading the message of our faith in our community in the way only he can. I think the world is lesser because he doesn't get to do it. And the minute he can get back to it, the better.
Wow. Thank you, Sandford. I'm looking forward to singing, having us being able to sing all over each other, like without concern, without that kind of freedom that we once had. The abandon of that is so primal. The power of proximity in singing is such an important human relation, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that place. I'm really looking. I'm really searching for that.
And one last thing, I'm sorry, Mike. And Mike, it's really wonderful that you took the time to have us. The part that that I have been affected the most by is the kids not going to camp. I think that summer camps in general are such an important part of a child's development. I think especially this summer, given the kids have had their social development interrupted so significantly, that a place where they have to live and breathe with people more than just their parents is really important, more this summer than ever. And it's what has kept me up nights the most, was that these institutions that have generated far deeper relationships with other people and far more significant relationships than they can get at school were and are in such jeopardy. And it is my greatest prayer that we get kids back to camp, Jewish camp especially, but any camp, just so that we have better adjusted people as a result.
They are holy communities, no doubt about it. And our children need it. We had an amazing conversation with our high schoolers last night with Sisti at Temple, talking about, for those who don't know, our high schoolers we meet in the parking lot at Temple outdoors, and are, big circles and spread out and masked and careful. But we're talking about our love languages and what we're missing right now. And I came up in one conversation of what we get at camp. The child brought this up, and how no matter what our love language is, it is met at camp, and for me, a lot of that just the hugs that we give. Like I miss hugging both of you when we're at camp together, when we see each other, and by extension, all that connection, just, being with mourners, being with brides and grooms, bar mitzvah families. I mean, we hug, we love, and that unbridled joy and that support we give each other too. And it's just strange as Jews not having that, not being able to do that right now still. And I know we're gonna get there soon, but definitely there's some light at the end of this tunnel now, I feel. So thank you for bringing us joy and helping us live our mission and Patty stuff and having fun with us as well. A couple of Shir Shalom things to share. Hey, Passover being only 12 days away. Tonight at 7:00, there's one of our cooking series, Beyond the Basics, Delicious Dishes, to spice it up, make it spicy and fresh, with our caterer Paul Wirtz and Chef Hobby at 7:00. And so that's a Zoom link you want to get. If you don't have that, non-members are welcome to join us for that too, of course. Next Sunday on the 21st in the afternoon is Memorable Passover Dishes, New Ideas for the Holiday, being taught as well. Our congregational Seder is on the 28th at 6:00 for all ages. Tomorrow night at 7:30, we continue our Master Speaker Series with Dr. Matt Zagalnik of Princeton University. And he's talking about measuring the unpredictability or predictability of life, nature versus nurture, apples falling far from trees, why we end up the way we end up, all that kind of fun stuff. And he'll be talking from the science perspective. I'll be talking from the Jewish perspective next to him as well. And on Thursday, a lunch and learn with Yiftach Leket and Rabbi Daniel, why the Israeli election matters to you. Sandford, you can weigh in on that one. That's at 12 noon, a lunch and learn. And lastly, this Sunday on the 21st is our Passover food drive from 12 to 3:00 in the Temple parking lot. It's a community food drive supported by Repair the World Detroit with lots of other different organizations. So the synagogues, we're blessed to have it being hosted with us. 12 to 4, Brian? Sorry, 12 to 4:00. And I've been told there's for the first 300 people who bring bags of food, you get a box of matzah.
Wow.
Because nothing says Passover more than the bread of affliction.
Hey now.
Anyway, thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Rabbi Sandford, Kopnick, Dan Nichols. Pancakes with San and Dan continues weekly at 1 p.m. most weeks, but just check and make sure, because sometimes it could be at a different time, as we've heard. You never know. On Sundays. And it is, as you're going to bring your food to the food drive, just pull it up in the car on your phone, right? Or as you drive one, it will make you laugh as you drop your food off. And other good things that are shared too. So thanks for making us laugh, bringing us joy, sharing us delicious recipes as well. I'll give Dan the credit for that one, Sandford, and loving the pancakes together. So thank you, my friends. Miss you and look forward to hugging soon.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. Good to see you.
Thanks,
Take
Sandford.
care, everyone. Be safe, everyone.